Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs. Welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla, and things have changed. This is so exciting. The first thing you might notice is that my custom sky is gone, and unconnected glass textures are back. It's 1.10 time. This is going to be brilliant. You guys, I'm so excited for 1.10. And if you had told me when we started this server, probably about 3 months ago, when we reset the DV map and began Season 3, that the 1.10 update would be coming out now, I would have called you crazy. I would have said that you either had inside information or that you were completely wrong. And now 1.10 is here. I can barely believe it. We have so much to do, so much exciting stuff to do, and I'd already... Look at the floor in here. Look at this. I actually kind of like this in a way, just the way that square pattern interacts with the checker pattern. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go back to connected glass as soon as there's an Optifine release, but just kind of let's take it in for the moment. Let's enjoy the alternative perspective it gives us on the materials that we have. So I'd already planned out an episode in which I went to the end and stole a ton of Dragon's Breath from the Ender Dragon, because the Ender Dragon, I went back there to get some more Ender Pearls, because I really wanted some Ender Pearls to work on the roof of the museum, which is looking splendid, by the way. I'm going to quickly run up here and show you. Actually, I might go to the top of the little Rainforest Cafe area and then come out onto this bit in the middle, because this is probably the best view of the museum roof as it currently is. It's not quite finished yet, but I've been making progress. Look at that! You probably saw that as I was on the approach, but I really like how this turned out, kind of curving around the central eye, and I do want to keep that eye visible from the outside if it's all possible. So that's going to be a challenge for future episodes. But yeah, I went back to the end to grab some Ender Pearls, and the dragon was doing the breathing thing. The dragon was breathing on me. She was sending down little Dragon's Breath attacks, and I was harvesting all of the Dragon's Breath I could, because now we can fill up the dispenser on the underside of the dragon's mouth right here, and the dragon can breathe fire. It's already filled up, so I'm going to demonstrate now. I might do it from this, which already has a couple arrows in it, just to show you what the deal is with that. Let me go and grab a button real quick. Bam! And now the dragon is breathing fire. Look at that! That's so cool. I'll see if I can get up here before it stops, but the lingering potion doesn't always go. It doesn't last for super long, but look at that. That turned out really well. I'm super happy with that. And obviously I could choose a different colour for the fire. Could have chosen a purple potion if we wanted it to be more like the Dragon's Breath itself, but that's quite a neat little feature. I do like that. Obviously each time I do that I'm wasting a lingering potion, and there's only going to be 9 of those in the dispenser at once because you can't stack them. So unfortunately we're going to have to be manufacturing lingering potions quite a lot, or just using that button very, very sparingly. But yeah, now we're in 1.10, there are a number of things that I want to do, and one of the things I wanted to do, the other thing I had planned for this episode, was to set up a shop at Farhaven which sold lingering potions, tipped arrows rather, using the lingering potions and stuff like that. But I think now a good plan would be to set up a kind of 1.9 and 1.10 shop to make some materials available to people. Considering I've been farming all this nether warts this whole time, I now have the capacity to make a decent amount of the new blocks, which mainly require nether wart to craft. What I don't have right now is magma blocks, so that may require a trip into the nether and loading up some new chunks to see if we can create some magma blocks. And you can craft them using 4 magma cream, but who has that much magma cream, right? Like, I don't really know of a particularly great magma cube farm design. I'm sure they're available, but they are kind of rare, magma cubes. They're not the most common nether mob, so I think it's probably best to actually go and farm magma blocks. And I've been to the nether on my patron server. Magma blocks generate there very, very plentifully. There's lots of them, so we don't need to worry too much about that. The reason I have all this glass in my inventory is that I'm going to make some stained glass, because I've been working on designs for the torches that I mentioned that are going to go on the outside of the museum on top of those pillars, and I really like the designs I came up with. I still need to grab a sea lantern so we can do the blue one, but we might make the red one later on in today's episode, and if somebody can find us an ocean monument that we can go and steal a sea lantern from, then we'll definitely end up doing that at some point as well. So the first thing I need to do, I might drop off the dyes in here so we can move on from the glass and onto other things. The first thing I'm going to do is head down here and check how much we've got in this chest, because that much nether wart and this much nether brick is going to make us a decent amount of blocks. I think we'll have at least 4 stacks of the red nether brick. Oh, I'm excited for this. Wait a second, it's only going to be 2 stacks because you split it in half each time. Okay, so maybe not quite as much as I thought. So this nether brick is going to be like red regular brick. It's going to be a little bit expensive to craft, but it's so worth crafting. And then nether wart blocks. Now these are pretty cool looking. I'm probably not going to make as much of them because I don't see people using these as much as they use red nether brick, but it might be worth taking a look at. Anyway, there's a spider crawling across the wall above my desk, and it's only a small one. This isn't Australia or anything, so I'm not too worried, but it's just distracting me, just kind of getting in my peripheral vision, causing a fuss. So I think I'll make maybe a stack of these, and then we can sell them kind of like 8 at a time or something like that, just so they're kind of like a specialist block. I don't see anyone wanting them all the time. And wow, all of that nether wart only made 58 of those blocks, and of course you can't turn them back into nether wart. They're not like a resource block, so that's going to be kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting striking a balance between creating those and keeping the nether wart around. Obviously nether wart is still for brewing potions and stuff, so we do still need to keep a ready supply for that, but I always end up with more nether wart than I need when it comes to potion brewing, especially if you brew potions efficiently. Then you're never really going to run out of nether wart if you have even a small farm. So we're going to get ourselves a few more of these. I grabbed a bunch of ender pearls from the end as well, so we might even get up there and do a little bit more work on the roof in today's episode. But I'm going to go over to Farhaven and I'm going to set up my little shop, and we'll see if it gets any customers this week. Hello folks, and welcome back to Farhaven. We are back here and we have been busy. Welcome to my latest build, which is the newly christened Pixlriffs' 1.10 block shop and Tipped Arrow Emporium. This place is my favourite thing in the world now because we've got ourselves the new blocks in here, and I have not got all of them yet, and there are reasons for that. The first of all is, for a start, red nether brick is going to be 16 per slot in this chest, so 1 slot is applicable to the prices we have on the wall up here, and that is because red nether brick is expensive as heck, as I have discovered. I mean, I built this room out of it, more or less, that and the bone blocks, but it takes a lot of work to get red nether brick together because you need to grow the nether wart, you need to smelt netherrack into nether brick, and it's a bit of a time-consuming process. For a start, you've got to wait for the nether wart to grow, which has been my main obstacle so far, and it's the reason nether wart block, while it's a little bit cheaper, it's 32 blocks per slot, we still don't have a great deal of it here in the chest. This is the payment chest here, by the way, if anybody wants to use that. I might set up a hopper collection system underneath that, but I do need to move the glowstone around a little bit. So yeah, that's the payment chest, and the prices in here are 2 coal blocks or 1 iron block or 4 gold ingots per slot of these chests. So one of those is going to cost you 2 coal blocks or an iron block or 4 gold ingots. That's the idea. So yeah, I thought that was a fair price because these blocks are a little bit difficult to obtain, with the exception of bone blocks, which are 64 per slot because they are dirt cheap, especially considering we've had a skeleton spawner set up here for a while. It's been churning out bones and bone meal and everything else, but we haven't used up all that much. Not anymore. And remember, bone blocks aren't just building blocks, they are also compact storage for bone meal. So one of these represents 64 times 9 bone meal. Can't do maths, not sure how much that is. It's a lot. I think it's like 580 something bone meal, so that's a decent amount. So you're buying a lot of bone meal for a couple of iron block, a couple of coal blocks or an iron block or whatever. Magma blocks we don't have yet, and that is what we are going to do next once I explain the upstairs. Upstairs, we're going to sell tipped arrows, and this is something that we haven't had a chance to take advantage of yet because we hadn't been to the end and gathered some dragon's breath, and I'm still kind of setting things up over here. We could have gotten spectral arrows sooner, but I feel like spectral arrows aren't necessarily top of everyone's list of priorities. But it's still a pretty cool thing to have. Still a very cool thing to have. I shot a ghast in the nether earlier. I was using spectral arrows. It looks really cool when it dies. It just surrounded by this glow. It goes, ah, and then it just fades from existence and didn't drop any ghast tears, unfortunately. But here we go. We've got some effect arrows here. I'm going to set them up mainly just the negative effects for now, unless there are any that come by popular demand, because the negative effects are the things that are going to help you in PvE, whereas stuff like arrows of fire resistance, for example, you're just going to want to drink the potion, let's be real, unless you have... Maybe in the future we're going to get some punch bows and elytra going on, and people are going to be flying around. Arrows of healing or regeneration will probably help at that point, but gathering regen is going to be kind of difficult, what with, you know, not being able to farm ghasts particularly effectively yet. Maybe Zloy can help us with that, with his mob catching abilities. But right now we have arrows of slowness, arrows of harming, which I've actually put a sign on so you can see what it is. I'm going to be doing that for the rest of them as well. And arrows of weakness. And weakness is pretty easy to come by. It's just a spider eye. Slowness, a little bit less so. You've got to make a speed potion and then reverse it with a spider eye, and then of course you have to add the gunpowder to make it a splash potion, the dragon's breath to make it a lingering potion, and then apply it to the arrows. Same with the harming, because you have to do a potion of regeneration, which is taking a lot of gold, hence why these are 2 gold per slot or 5 iron ingots, and the spectral arrows are 1 iron block or... wait a second, that should say 4. 4 gold ingots. Give me a second, let me change that. There we go, 1 iron block or 4 gold ingots per slot. Get your prices right, Pix, because these things take up glowstone by the bucket load. You have to have glowstone dust surrounding the arrow, and then that gets you 2 arrows. That only gets you 2. So consider the amount of glowstone I've had to break down into dust, with Fortune 3 admittedly, so I've been getting 3 or 4 per block, but it has been kind of expensive. Luckily, I have villagers who will trade me glowstone, so all I have to do is a bunch of trading and I can get all the glowstone I want. Problem with that is, trading takes time, so I feel like those are reasonable prices given the amount of effort I have to put into those, but that is my new shop, and I'm going to be continuing to stock this as we go. But right now, we're going to head into the nether and we're going to find ourselves some magma blocks. Now, I'm a little bit apprehensive about this trip because when I did this on my Patreon server, I had Frostwalker boots, and Frostwalker boots, you will know if you've been keeping track of the screenshots, allow you to walk on magma blocks without taking damage, whereas if you don't have that or fire resistance potion, then you have to crouch, you have to be a little bit more careful. I have myself a fire resistance potion which I wrested from the grasp of an evil witch, so I'm going to take this fire resistance potion with me into the nether just in case we get into a sticky situation, and hopefully everything will come out okay. I've got a couple of ender pearls with me as well, which I stole from an enderman who was trying to steal a grass block from us. Oh yes, I forgot to introduce our new friend. I found ourselves a husk. Listen to the noises he makes. Listen. Oh, it's a new noise. They make new sound effects in 1.10, and this guy is named Husky Huskerton because I couldn't resist giving him a goofy name. But Core and Paige happened to be on the server at the time, which was great because I'd baited the husk over here, I'd trapped him, but then I realised that if I ran away to get the name tag, he would probably despawn. So Core brought me the name tag and stood around and observed the husk whilst I went away and renamed it in an anvil. So Husky Huskerton is now here. I put him by Zloy's stuff. Zloy has made this fantastic map of the Farhaven area, and he's also, it seems like, planning to build a wall around the outside. I assume that's why he's made the map here in the first place. So looking forward to seeing what he does with that. Also, you may have noticed that Paige's windmill is up and looking pretty good, if I say so. That's a really nice addition to the area, and I think a windmill on a savannah would be perfect in general. Like, it's a good setting for it because we'd be getting a lot of, you know, light breezes through here to turn the sails, grind up the flour and so forth. If you're looking at it from like an RP kind of thing, perfect build for the area. Well done, Paige, that's awesome. So Core's house is also doing pretty well. There's not a great deal else to update you with on Farhaven stuff, but things will be progressing in the weeks to come, I am sure. Looking forward to seeing what everybody does. So the plan is to explore the nether until we find magma blocks, which might take a little while, but might not at the same time. I've been carving out this area here for soul sand and netherrack, just so I can get my nether brick production line going, and I think further out this way might be a good place to look for magma blocks because they are likely to be chunks that we haven't rendered in yet. I don't think anyone has done a huge amount of exploring in the nether unless KB has been out that way, but I'm pretty sure he has stuck to the direction his tree farm is in, so perhaps if we head down here we will find ourselves some magma blocks. It's going to take a little bit of bridging, I imagine, but thankfully I have a few materials for that. I've got some dirt and some... I can always get netherrack from the surrounding environment, but I will do a bit of traversing first, just so we're not wasting our blocks on useless bridges. I keep seeing lava blocks merging with netherrack blocks in the distance and thinking that's gonna be... Whoa, hello! Thinking that was gonna be magma blocks, but it turns out not so much. Maybe it's best approaching this from a slightly different angle, just because down here seems to be sort of surrounded by these lava lakes, unless there's a way we can get over here. We will see. Nope, we've got a moat, ladies and gentlemen. What we have here is a moat. So we'll have to go around for the magma blocks. But I'm excited to find these things. I'm kind of excited to see what people do with them in general. Like, I don't know if we'll have a great deal of people wanting to apply them to stuff on this server, but there's some cool stuff you can do with them. You can make mob traps with them and stuff. You can farm drops that way pretty easily. And I'm kind of interested to see what the more technical people in the Minecraft community do with them. People like the Hermits and anyone on Minecraft. And there's definitely people working on it on the subreddit as well. There are definitely a lot of people trying to find new and interesting things to do with the mechanics. I think the thing people are most excited about from 1.10, from what I've seen, is structure blocks, which obviously don't really apply to us here in survival, but we can maybe take a look at those another time because I've seen some really cool stuff people are doing with those already. It's worth checking out. Now this direction is going to be the way that the nether fortress is, so we have probably loaded the most chunks of the nether in this direction, but if we head off that way, which is south, if we head north or south from here, essentially, we're probably going to run into magma blocks sooner or later, so I think that's probably the direction we will aim to travel. Oh, ladies and gents, we have found some. Oh gosh, I'm going to have to cut back to this because I was exploring the nether for a lot longer than I thought before I found some chunks which hadn't been loaded in before. This is really odd. Why is the magma block generating here, I wonder? Because normally it's next to lava lakes, but it seems to actually be inside of the nether chunks themselves. So maybe it just generates differently to how I imagined, because I thought it was supposed to generate kind of around the edge of lava lakes. That's always how they've shown it off in screenshots, and I haven't explored enough of a purely 1.10 generated world to really disprove that. But I guess it generates other places as well, or maybe we're like underneath a lava source right now. I mean, there's a lava source there, but that's hopefully running in a different direction. We will see. Hopefully we don't update that in a second, but hey, we have ourselves some magma blocks at long last, and these things, you can just tear through them with a regular pickaxe. Like, I was worried that you would need silk touch for them or something. You don't. I have my two pickaxes with me anyway, and I've been using the silk touch one to grab glowstone, because there's a healthy amount of glowstone in these tunnels here in the nether, but we are already about 400 blocks out from the spawn portal. Or the Farhaven portal, rather, which I keep thinking of as the spawn portal. And we've found ourselves a ton of magma blocks. Like I said, you can also make these with 4 magma cream, but who's going to be making them out of magma cream? Let's be real. It's probably best to just harvest them. They're not doing anyone a great service here, and they don't really have any other use. Magma cream has use as fire resistance potions, so you kind of want to keep it around. So I'm going to harvest a bunch of this and take it back and set it up in the shop. So there we go, we have 48 magma blocks per slot. We've got 9 of those so far. I can't honestly imagine what anyone would want to buy more than 48 magma blocks for, because, let's face it, they're not exactly building material, but there they are in any case. Prices are the same up on the wall over there. I'll probably put an ender chest in here when I can put one of those together, but I need to go and harvest some obsidian for that, and I'm not going to do that in the end, despite the amount of other stuff I've been harvesting in the end recently. I also need to grab myself a few more blaze rods because I'm running low on blaze powder for ender eyes and so forth. I've gone through a couple of ender chests just in my trips to the end to get the dragon's breath, so we will need to drop one of those in at a later date, but I'll probably get on with that later today, do it off camera. One last thing before we leave the Farhaven area, Paige of Maces said she had dropped off a gift here that was going to be some kind of donation to the museum, so I may as well go and check that out. She said she left it in my house, and looks like there's a chest here. An exhibit for the museum from Paige. Oh, Paige. Oh, Paige, you genius. She's found me a notch apple. That is superb. Thank you so, so much. Because these things can now only be found. As of 1.9, not even 1.10, but 1.9, these things could only be found and not crafted. So that means she's found... I mean, I think she mentioned that she'd found a golden apple in a mineshaft the other day. Maybe it was a notch apple, she said, but she's given it to the museum. That is so, so cool of her. Thank you so much, Paige. I will keep this in a safe place. Sorry, I've just knocked the microphone. In my excitement at getting one of these, I'm going to keep this in my end chest for now, because I do not want anything to happen to this. But thank you so much. That's really awesome. Getting a notch apple was going to be one of those sort of ongoing quests that I had for people once the museum got going a little bit. Because these things are kind of difficult to find. Like, I've explored a bunch of mine shafts and found dungeons, a couple of temples, that kind of thing. Have not found myself a notch apple yet at all. So that is awesome of Paige to donate that. We will make good use of it. We will display it proudly in the museum. And where on earth is the ender chest in Farhaven? Do we even have one anymore? I think I may have taken them all to the end. Let's go look around. If nothing else, I have an ender chest over at the museum already, so we may as well just drop it in there, right? Husky Huskerton. Look at him. Look at him go. Look at his blonde hair. Man, he looks like the husks kind of remind me of, like, boy band members or something. It's just the bleach blonde hair kind of look that they have going on. I know that's probably, like, it's meant to be like a helmet or a kind of, like, mummy wrapping, like, bandage kind of thing. Makes me think of old school, like, Backstreet Boys kind of boy band status. Like, they look like Justin Timberlake circa NSYNC, right? So I can't take husks super seriously, which is why I've named that one Husky Huskerton, but I think they're a really great addition to the game. The fact that I have a desert over here by the museum means that I will probably be encountering them more often than not, especially seeing as they don't burn in sunlight, so the only chance to just get rid of them completely is to despawn. And oh gosh, I keep pressing my zoom key. I miss Optifine so much. I put the clouds back on. You probably noticed that kind of halfway through the video, clouds reappeared. I put Minecraft clouds back on, but I've not seen these things for a while. Look at them. They look all glitchy and weird. They've got these lines in between them. Ugh. I want my Optifine sky back. I hate to sound like a spoiled boy throwing my toys out the pram, but I kind of want those back. So that's going in the ender chest. Thank you so much, Paige. That's so cool of you. And the problem, of course, is that because these chunks haven't been loaded in, my nether wart has hardly grown at all. So we're going to get on with harvesting a bunch more blocks. And there's a couple of other things I wanted to do in today's episode. So I was under the impression that if you got a potion of regeneration and switched it up with a spider eye, that was what caused potion of poison. Turns out not so much. Turns out all you need is a regular spider eye to make a poison potion. After the nether wart, of course. The nether wart is kind of the usual process for these things. So I've made some regen potions that I will not be using until I need them for actual regeneration, because I thought those were going to be poison potions. And that's a good thing, if anything, because it turns out that I won't need to farm as many casts as I thought I would to get some potions of poison. So we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to add those to the stock over at the Arrow Emporium, and I'll turn these regen potions into longer regen potions, because those are always kind of useful. And then, yeah, we've done a little bit more. I really need to get some sort of method of at least semi-automating the nether wart farm, because gathering this has been a bit of a pain. Obviously, it takes a while for it all to grow evenly, so if I just dump a bucket of water on it now, I'll only get about half of the nether wart kind of harvested with profit, with surplus, because everything is growing kind of unevenly, and I've planted it all unevenly because I've been harvesting it like this, so that's probably not improving matters. But obviously I'll be able to do this kind of in the background as I get on with stuff at the museum. I just really want to get a ton of the new blocks right away. So I'm being a little bit greedy there, but no worries. We will sort this out. We will get ourselves a decent, probably semi-automatic nether wart farm. I don't think you can automate nether wart because you can't really replant it. It's not like sugarcane where it grows above and then you just harvest what's there. So yeah, we will have to get ourselves a decent method of farming nether warts. But in the meantime, I think it's going pretty well. I've also added the first torch to the front of the museum, and I'm kind of tempted to put the second one in just for the sake of symmetry, but I don't have myself a sea lantern just yet. But I think that is looking pretty good. It's also not getting in the way of the ender eye, which was the kind of thing I wanted to be the centerpiece of this whole build, so I think that's pretty good. I think that's doing its job, and then we will put the blue flame on the opposite side, and then we will call it good. Once we have a sea lantern, of course. I might even put it up there with glowstone for now, and then just swap out the sea lantern when we have access to them. So we've got ourselves some lingering potions of slowness, which we can turn into tipped arrows, and I'm going to make myself some poison potions just to test this recipe out, because it's not something I've done before. I've got a secret water source hidden behind there because cauldrons as a water source are still pretty terrible. They still not great because they just deplete, and then you can only have 3 potions at a time. They're nice for like aesthetic purposes. I wouldn't want them removed from the game, but let's face it, they're not an infinite water source. It's really strange that you can empty a bucket of water in, get a bucket of water out, but then if you try and fill up a potion bottle from it, it just depletes and goes away. So what else do we have to do around here? The next thing I'm going to start on is kind of a project that's separate from the museum, but sort of not. That's the only way I can think of putting it. I'm going to start like a town around the museum. Like, it feels like there should be a little bit more life around here, and Zloy was saying, when we were chatting in the previous episode, he was saying that it would be really cool to start some kind of town around here just to give this building a little bit more context and make it look like the area has a little bit more life going on. We've already got a sheep farm and a villager breeder here and everything, so it feels like there should be something else going on. So I'm probably going to use some of the house designs I've been knocking up in creative whilst I've been testing out how to build with the nether brick. You saw one of them in my how to build with nether brick tutorial, the red nether brick. If you haven't checked that out already, please go and do that, because I kind of want to make those material tutorials a bit more of a thing. I kind of want to do them more regularly, and for that to happen, I think it needs to be getting more views, generally speaking. And they're longer videos, so I understand they're a bit more of a time commitment, but I do kind of want to excuse me. I do kind of want to get those off the ground a little bit, so that would be really cool if you guys would go and check that one out and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know what other materials you would like to see tutorials about when it comes to building, because that's how I'm going to focus the tutorials. They're going to be more about the materials you use rather than like a specific build. They're going to be about how to use the materials, which is a bit different from your standard tutorial, but I think it's probably a good way of approaching things, making things a little bit different for you guys. So we have ourselves some more tipped arrows, which are going to go in the shop, and in a second we will have ourselves, potions of poison. Didn't know that. Wow, learn something new every day, especially in this game. So we're going to turn those into splash potions, and thereafter lingering potions, and then we're going to be able to offer poison tipped arrows in the arrow emporium as well. But yeah, we're going to start working off camera on a few builds around here just to make the place look a little bit more interesting, a bit more populated, and not have the museum just be here on its own. It's still going to be the centerpiece, obviously. It's still going to be my long-term project, but sometimes I get bored of building this place and I want to do something else, so that's what we're going to do around here. Now, over the next few weeks, we actually have a friend visiting from America. One of my wife's friend is coming over to stay with us for a few weeks. I mean, she's staying in England for a couple of weeks. She's kind of moving around. She has a couple of other friends here that she's going to be staying with, but I may not be able to make videos as regularly because she's going to be living in our house, and our house is not huge. We don't really have much of a guest bedroom kind of space, so she's probably going to be on the sofa as comfortably as she possibly can be, but and our sofa is very comfortable, so that's not really a problem. But I won't be able to use the front room where my computer is as regularly to make videos for you guys. Like, I won't be able to get up first thing in the morning and make a video like I currently do now. So you may find that videos come out every now and then, every couple of days or so, and I'm still going to try and pre-record as much content as I can, but there might be a couple of videos which are shorter but are just like time lapses of stuff I'm building here on DV, but aren't like full commentated episodes, just because I don't want to sit in here being antisocial and chatting into a microphone when they obviously want to be talking amongst themselves and having like conversations, playing board games, whatever happens. So you guys may not see as much video content from me over the next few weeks, but I will try and keep it coming, and I will be back to full video production once that trip is over with. So that's going to be it for today, folks. 1.10 is here. We have so much exciting stuff to take care of. But for now, my name has been Pixlriffs. Please leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comments if you are excited for 1.10. And I will see you guys soon. Bye for now. Another thing to bear in mind is if I remove these blocks here and I replace them with solid blocks instead of stairs which let light through, you will notice that a change comes over this red nether brick and it gets a lot darker. If anything, it's even darker than it is here. And again, this is because nether brick is being affected by the light around here.